Hey, it's Kenny here, and I wish to welcome you to the second part of my Fantasy Mythos epic campaign creation. The first part went through all these external factors here. The second part now I'm going to talk to you is about place. Before I do that, I'll talk to you about some more inspirations that I had. I've been thinking about this quite a bit since I last did the recording, and one thing which keeps coming to mind was something I wrote in the original epic post, and that was about fort on the border between order and chaos. And the other thing about they come from watching a couple of TV programs about military forts, especially Roman military forts, is how they had a vicus, or a military settlement outside the fort, outside a fort. And to me, both of those sort of work well together to create a nice reason why there's something out here here. So now I'm going to place. There's two ways of doing some world building. The first way of doing world building is taking a big overview picture of the world and then progressively make smaller and smaller details. So if we're going to do the planet Earth, we'll take a whole picture of the planet Earth. Then we'll talk about, I'm in Europe, so we'll talk about Europe. And then we go, or once we know about Europe, then we'll go back down to United Kingdom. And then we'll go to England. And then we'll go into the southeast, which is where I live. If we were going to do, and the second way of doing it is to go from the bottom up. It's where you start off with, like, in my hometown. I'll start with my hometown, build up my hometown, and then over time I'll get bigger. So I then work out to be southeast of the United Kingdom or England. Then do England, United Kingdom, Europe, then the world. Both of those have their own good and bad side effects and benefits and disadvantages. The way I like to world build is a hybrid between the two of them. I first of all create an overview picture of the world. So say I'm doing the world, so I look at the world and make brief notes. There's North America, there's South America, there's Europe, Russia, Asia, Africa, the Pacific Islands, Australia, New Zealand, and look at all of those. And then I would go down to, say, like my hometown and build up my hometown. I then get to southeast of England, United Kingdom, and then out to Europe, back up to Europe again, and detailing Europe in more detail from that way up. This way, I believe you get more benefits from both different types of world building, and I find it much more fun and much more uniformed of how I create a world. So the first thing I do now before I create my world is to look at the world hook. Now my world hook is just a short paragraph or short description that will give you an understanding of what this world's going to be about. It's a bit more difficult than just writing. Well, you can just write a sentence, but I had troubles trying to do that. So the first thing I sorted out was write down what makes this world unique, and that was order and chaos, round and powerful. Then I've got gods interact with humans. I then have the mythos I was talking about earlier. There's chaos creatures. There's demons, elder gods, lost creatures, creatures from elsewhere. And at the moment I want it focused on a place, which could be a city or a town. or a town. Haven't quite figured out exactly how big I want this area to be just yet. The first thing that I thought about when doing this, talking about the whole border and stuff like that, was I was thinking about saying the border between order and chaos was formed long ago. This didn't strike me as all that great. It seemed a bit wishy and stuff like that. I didn't like how I was going with this. So the next thing I did, I'm just going to copy and paste here because it's a long bit of text here. And paste. The balance between order and chaos was never certain. At times the cosmos stagnated whilst order held sway. At other times the cosmos was a war-torn anarchy, each side trying to get and keep the upper hand. After many cycles, a group of mortals dared stand against the forces of order and chaos. They weakened the hold of order and chaos over the cosmos, except on a single world. On that one world, order and chaos were allowed to battle. The elder gods, tired of fighting over a single world, went to sleep, leaving their minions to fight on their behalf until they could break the hold of the once mortal heroes. In time, the war slowed down and stopped. Order and chaos retreated to their own areas, with the exception of a single region, which was a location where the elder gods had once stood and fought together against the heroes. Here the elder gods went to slumber. Here the powers of the elder gods lay wait. Here the elder gods lay waiting for their call to once again spread throughout the cosmos. Now, that I quite like. I like the picture that it provides, and I like everything. I like that comes from that. What I don't like about that is it's a story. It tells a story. It's got a beginning, middle, and an end. It's a movement from one to the other. And a Worldhook's not so much about the movement. A Worldhook's more a single or snapshot in time, just to highlight, to illustrate what's actually happening in the world. So I'll keep that. But what I will work on doing is to work on creating a new Worldhook. So I've spent some time looking through it, and just generally some other fantasy tropes as well. I've come up with this. Beneath the hills and mountains that dominate the region lay the elder gods. Long forgotten by all but the most dedicated. To the north lay the homes of the barbarians and wild creatures. To the south lay the heartlands of civilization. Between them lay the marches, semi-wild lands where men dare dream large, strive for riches and greatness, and armies hold back the Northmen from the riches that lay to the south. Now this last one here is what I would say is a good Worldhook. It might be able to be made shorter, but it's got everything I would like from Worldhook in it. It explains what the region's about. It gives you a bigger overview of what's happening. Its place in the world. I just really like that, and that was a very good one. What I'm keeping for this game. The next thing I'm going to look at is setting specific details. I've already created horrors and magic from the external factors and just general ideas from what I like. What I'm also going to add to that is elder gods. Elder gods, and also these the mortal heroes. I think they could probably become gods, and as I said, I wanted the gods to interact with humans. I can see they're still being quite active, and seeing they could take a whole part of the world. So that's, I think, some good details here. Now in locations, I've put down the important place again from the external factors, but I've also got 3 other places. I've got the Northlands, Southlands, and the Marches as well. And I've got that important place. Okay, and then in groups, I've got the cult and I've got a secret order. At the moment that seems alright. And NPCs, I haven't got any more NPCs just as yet. So there's lots of ways I can go around about doing this. I can let's look at the important place. I can do details about the important place. I can say it's a town that I've built up around a fort. It's not just a fort is a central hub, and not trading but supply post. So it's a very important place as well. That's what I wanted. It's a central hub. People come there. Supply post. It's almost like a relaxing relaxation place, hence the fort. So around that was built a towns. So the towns could be quite big. It could be almost a city in size. Probably the only reason it's not a city is because it doesn't have a cathedral. Maybe there was okay, let's think about it. There was plans to make a cathedral, but buildings stopped. So there's probably then a half-built cathedral or a monastery or something which is using the half-built parts of the cathedral around here. Then I think I'd like it to be on the river, because that would be an important reason why it's there. A good defensive position on the river, of course, and good troops up and down, easy supply as well. So it'll be on the river. I like that idea as well. I said that I want there to be a monastery or 3. Maybe they'll battle for importance in town. I know that in medieval Canterbury, there's a cathedral, and right outside the cathedral there was an abbey, and both of them tried to fight over the importance and which was more important for the city of Canterbury. I quite like the whole idea of the whole dynamic of each side working for good but wanting to get power over each other as well. So that's, I think, just a couple of interesting snippets into the idea of the important place. The Northlands, I said there's barbarian, but the names of it, something could be Viking-like or Celt-like. There's also going to be probably orcs and other goblinoid creatures. I'm gonna put it in brackets because I'm not sure if I want those or not yet. And I thought I spelled that correctly. So there's other things like that. I want to just leave them there for the time being. I don't know what else to think about Northlands at the moment. I get ideas from the names of it. It's going to be probably cold, harsh, probably mountainous. They're probably forests, areas of richness, and probably in parts of it where a civilization has grown. As I said, there's the fight between order and chaos, and there probably will be areas in the Northlands where if civilization has flourished. So I'm thinking I'll leave that. Now the Southlands, it's going to be an interesting place to think about. So I'm going to probably think about Rome. Also like the city-states of, the 2 words, is it? City-states of Italy. I know it's a bit later in history like that. Also probably like in Greece, and maybe also something like a Japan, China, and maybe a bit of a Mayan stroke Aztec sort of places. Yes, it's a whole hodgepodge of things, and I could probably find the reason why I can make them all fit together. But at the moment, they're just sort of ideas or different places I'm having around the Southlands. Like the Mayan Aztecs could be like the civilized areas of the Northlands, where there's a bit of chaos and chaotic in there. And maybe that's where the city-states can come in. The whole elements of really power, grandeur and greatness, but also bitching and sniding over each other and backstabbing. So I quite like those sort of elements put in there. I haven't quite decided what sort of level of technology I want. I'm probably thinking medieval kind of stuff, but I haven't quite got there yet. So I have to think about that some more. Now in the marches, these are the areas between the two, and I think it's going to be the most dynamic place. So it's a dynamic place. It's going to be the place where people go to, say, make their fortunes, where they go to become greater than they are. It's not so stagnated as the ordered lands of the south. It's going to be a lot more flexible and stuff like that. So it's going to be probably going to be powerful. Probably going to so powerful that the Southlands haven't been able to bring it fully under their control to civilise it. But they don't want to not civilise it because it's their desire. And of course the Order wants to take it over. So it's also the thing of the South wanting to keep in check. But too powerful to do much about. It's like in the medieval England, the marches in medieval England against the Welsh. The march lords were very powerful people and had a lot of flexibility, and that's what sort of I like about here. You got the mix between the chaos and the flexibility and the whole wishy-washy, not wishy-washy, but the whole wishy-washy of the north and the rigid structure of the south. And it's somewhere between the two. That's why I want the whole dynamicness of it. So I'll keep that. So how good the marches, sort of ideas in the marches. Actually, in the groups, I've forgotten one other thing. You got the army, haven't you? And the army is probably going to be a bit different because you're going to have regiments, but you're also going to have lone heroes. As I said, it's going to be a mix between order and chaos. Chaos will probably find that you have small bands as well. So chaos, you probably have lots of small bands, lots of individual hero fighting one-on-one, and then whoever wins that individual fight, the other party sort of fades away. And of course, because they're fighting those type of things, they're going to have to do that kind of type of things. And on the other hand, they need regiments to field vast or large regiments to keep the Southlands from wanting control over them. But also, vast regiments are very powerful in certain areas, and it cannot be beaten by small bands of things, especially in fields and big plains, which is what I think the marches will probably be. You're probably going to, so you can have plains and large fields, step kind of things, and that kind of thing. So you're also going to be hilly country. So you got this sort of green land, probably like northern England. You've got countryside which rolls over everywhere and quite flat. Probably also some like the Exmoor and Dartmoor as well, probably in some areas, moorland, and that's probably going to be sort of dominant places. And you're also going to have forests as well. I like forests. I think forests are wonderful to look at and interesting to spend time in. And of course mountains as well, because I just like mountains as well. Beautiful things to look at. I don't really like hiking up mountains, but that's neither here nor there. Now the other thing to look at is the cult. I don't know much about cult, so I'm going to leave that alone. I talked about the army. Now the secret order. Now I can come up with a name for the secret order, but at the moment I'm just going to leave names apart until I can think of getting some nice sort of ideas and naming structures and stuff. But at the moment I was going to talk a bit about the secret order. I'm going to have different branches. I know it's not the right word, but they've got different branches. They got it's hierarchical. It's also cell based as well. There's other things to look at as well. What else are the secret order going to be like? They take vows of loyalty and poverty. Probably like it's going to be sort of monastic order as well. This is one. I think it's going to be a monastic kind of order as well. It's going to be quite. I reckon it's going to be a powerful order in the marches, and it has reach into Southlands. I don't see it being too powerful in the Northlands, but it's got some outposts in Northlands. Okay. So what else can I think about the secret order? They're probably going to be a sort of military focus. It gives a reason why the hero can fight as well, and not just going to be a pure investigation campaign. So what other things can I think about the secret order? I'm going to say it's respected and trusted. Okay, and for the NPCs, I'm not going to have any NPCs just yet. When I go through later on and add more details to all of these sections, I might come across some NPCs to put into here. But as of yet, I don't have. Oh yes, I do have one. I'm going to have the. Of course, there. I'm going to have what I call the temptress. All I know is that she's there to tempt the PC away from creating the from being purely in the order. But I'm going to leave that for later on to put her out. So that there, I would say, is a good basic introduction to the world of the Fantasy Mythos and a way of how I create briefly a world. There is more to come. I've got to name all these different places and name different elder gods, the mortal heroes, give names for all of these different places. Maybe give the army a name, or the different brigades within the army a name. The cult name will come later during play, and give the secret order a name. Next time I'm going to be talking through intrigue, and in the intrigue I'm going to place this door here because that actually belongs under stories here. So that's it for today, and next time you'll see me, I'll be talking about intrigue.